All right, what's going on, guys? This is Stefan James. We're live right now on the Project Life Mastery YouTube channel and on Facebook. Want to make sure everything is working okay. So if you're joining live, please let me know in the chat. Let me know your name, where in the world that you're joining in from. It's great to connect with you guys today. I always want to make sure that things are working first before I really dive in. But I wanted to go live just to connect with you guys. Haven't been going live that often, and wanted to connect, wanted to see if I could be of service to you in your life or share something inspirational to help you improve your life. That's my mission. That's why I have this channel and do what I do. Hopefully you guys have been benefiting a lot from the content that I've been releasing. I did some filming yesterday of some great videos that are going to be coming to you guys soon next week. One of them is the topic of 7 things that I wish I stopped sooner in my life. Excited for this one because I think we can all agree there's certain things when we look back in our lives, now that we're more aware, more educated, we look back and we wish that we stopped it sooner because it was detrimental, it was problematic and affecting your life. And the sooner you stop, the sooner your life benefits and your life improves. So that's coming for you guys next week. And I also did another one sharing the 10 lessons that I've learned of getting over 1 million subscribers on YouTube. So as most of you guys know, I achieved that milestone not too long ago, and I feel very grateful, very blessed to have achieved it. Thank you guys so much for your support, being a subscriber. I've been a YouTuber for over 8 years, and there's a lot that I've learned. And so that video, I share some of my greatest lessons along the journey that I think could help you if you want to build a YouTube channel or whatever you're pursuing in your life of success, any milestone that you have. I think there's a lot of universal commonalities there that I can share with you that can help you in your life as well. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you're subscribed to Project Life Mastery on YouTube. You'll be notified of it. Click the bell icon to get notifications. So let's make sure all is good, all is working. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys had a great week so far. I've been in Vancouver now for summertime, as some of you guys know. But next month, for the wintertime, Tatiana and I are looking to spend some time in Hawaii. So we're going to probably spend a few months there, try to escape the rain and the cold of the wintertime and get into surfing. And, you know, we love the beach and that lifestyle, but COVID cases have been going up there, unfortunately, but I think it'll still be a great secluded place that we can be. Okay, so looks like all is good. Just doing a quick check here, guys. All right, let's see who's joining. Hey, Mike. Let's see here. Hey, Paul. Hey, Dennis from Germany. We got John from Mexico. We have Savio from India. We got Roisin from Jamaica. We got Hamza from India. Carol from Connecticut, I think. Ramsey from Yemen. Very cool. Mohammed, what's up? From Syria. Welcome. And I'm happy to answer your guys' questions, but I'll probably do like a Q&A period. So a lot of the questions that you guys post now, I probably won't see because I can only, focus on questions and talk at the same time. I can't multitask. So I'm happy to answer as many questions as I can while we're here, guys. But I want to share something with you guys today that perhaps could inspire you and share with you guys the way that I look at my life and improving my life. And hopefully if you're here, you also want to improve your life. And we're kindred spirits in that sense. I'm committed my life to wanting to live the best quality life that I can while I'm here. And there's a lot that I've learned and continue to learn that I share. And that's my purpose of my channel and what I do here. Okay, so let's see. We got, oops, lost my train of thought here. Okay, where was I? Okay, Thomas from Norway. We got Escula from Colombia. We got Kevin from California. We got Sean from Las Vegas. We got Snow from Texas, Jim from South Jersey. We got someone here from Ohio, from Romania, from Israel, from India, Colorado. We got Pedro from Montreal. We got someone here from Washington, D.C., and Anna from Portugal. We got Jean from Colombia, Justin from Vancouver. Awesome. Great to see a fellow Vancouverite. We got Brina from Slovenia. Awesome. Welcome, guys. Welcome. I see all the love coming in. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Okay, how to improve your life. I want to share with you guys my model, the way that I look at life. We're only here, guys, for a limited number of days, a limited period of time. Life is very scarce. It's very rare. And I personally want to have the max experience of life. I want to get the most out of my life while I'm here. I want to make sure if I can be successful and abundant financially, if I can be abundant emotionally, if I can be abundant spiritually, if I can be abundant with my health and my energy and my physical body, if I can be abundant in love and my relationship and my family and my friends, if I can be, then why not? Why not pursue the best of what life has to offer? You only get one life. I want to make sure that I make it count. And I only have so many days of being alive on this planet. Realizing that and accepting your mortality, I think, is very important. And life is tragic. We are going to die. The people that we love in our lives are going to die. Oftentimes, people don't really live life until they face death. Because when you face death, you realize, oh my gosh, life can be taken away. Life is so precious. So I personally want to get the most out of my life. And I think we can all agree, we all have certain days. Have you ever had a day where you wake up, you have no idea why, you woke up that day and you feel great? You can't pinpoint exactly why that is. You wake up, you feel great, you're happy, you're energetic, you feel maybe excited or passionate or confident, and everything's going your way. You know, it's a great quality day. I think we've all had days like that, even if you are, gone through depression, challenges, mental health, whatever it might be. I think we can all recognize that we still have had stages of our life, days of our life. You wake up, everything's good. We also have days, I'm sure you can agree, you wake up and for whatever reason, you can't pinpoint exactly why, but you wake up and you don't feel as good. Maybe you're a little bit down, maybe you're tired, maybe you're a little bit depressed, maybe you feel some anxiety, maybe some certain things are kind of going on in that day that are affecting your life. And you're living more in a suffering state, scarcity, fear, negativity, and we have certain days like that as well. And then we have certain days, I think we can all agree, that are just kind of normal days. It's our normal way of being. It's not super great. It's not those high days, and it's not those low days, but it's just kind of in between a normal day. The way I look at it is there's 365 days in the year. Let's pretend, let's just kind of imagine for a moment, let's say 100 of those days that you have at 365 are kind of those low days. You don't feel your best. You kind of feel down or depressed. We have 100 days like that. And maybe for you it's less, maybe for you it's more. I don't know. And that's for you to evaluate in your life. And then let's say you have, 100 days are those days that you feel great, you feel confident, you feel happy, you feel amazing. Okay? And maybe for you it's more, maybe for you it's less. And then let's say the other 165 days are those average in between kind of normal days for you. Maybe for it's more, maybe it's less. Okay, these numbers are just arbitrary. I'm just making them up. But let's just look at your life and kind of ask yourself, what's the ratio for you? What percentage do you have, would you say, out of your year is those low days, those high days, and those normal days? Well, whatever that number is, doesn't matter. For me personally, and hopefully for you as well, I want to make sure, my goal is to make sure that out of those 365 days, that I have more days that are amazing days and less that are the shitty days. That's my goal. And I want to make sure that I make every day as great as it can be. Now, that's not realistic, of course. We're all, no matter what, I don't care who you are, we're going to have low days, we're going to have things that are going to happen and it's going to bring you down. But there are people absolutely that have more positive days than others. And if that's the case, then you can grow and you can improve and you can increase that in your life. That's my goal. That's my focus. That's how I want to improve myself and my life. And so for me personally, I'm open-minded to anything that can enhance my life. Anything that can ensure that for the rest of my life, I have more great days than not great days. And if right now you have 100 bad days a year and 100 amazing days, and at 165 they're in between, how can you make it so that next year you have 10 more great days and 10 less shitty days? And then the year after that, how can you increase that even further? How can you expand it even more and more and more and more so that eventually the majority of your year, the majority of your life is more of those great days? And that's what I'm obsessed about. I'm obsessed with psychoanalyzing my life and my days and figuring out, why did I feel bad today? Why wasn't this the best day for me? What can I change? What can I do differently? What can I learn? Maybe those bad days, often we don't realize it. Maybe it's the byproduct of your sleep. Maybe it's the byproduct of what you ate the night before. Maybe it's the byproduct of your career and your job causing stress and problems. Maybe it's the byproduct of a challenging relationship or someone that's toxic in your life. Maybe it's the byproduct of an addiction that you have that's been affecting you and maybe is the culprit of being depressed or being down. There's a lot of factors that are at play that we need to cultivate awareness for so that we can figure out our lives, because no one else is going to figure out your life for you. Okay, I'm not going to do it for you. No one else is going to care about your life as much as you are going to care about your life. And so it's up to you to figure it out. It's up to you to analyze and have awareness about what can you do better, what can you change, and being open if your life isn't the way you want it to be and you're not feeling the way you want to feel every day, then being open-minded, not closed-minded, because as long as you're closed-minded, what's going to change, what's going to improve in your life? Nothing. Everything's going to be the same. Every day is going to be you're going to get worse over time, I'd argue, if you're not open-minded, you're not willing to change and adapt and improve yourself. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there, they've settled in their lives and they've given up. They got to a place of learned helplessness because they made attempts to improve their life and it didn't work out the way they expected, and so they give up. And they just accept their suffering and they live in their suffering and their self-pity, and they get their needs met through that. And the biggest addiction in our society is not food, it's not drugs, it's not alcohol, it's our problems. A lot of people are addicted to having problems. It allows them to feel sorry for themselves and other people to get sympathy and pity from as well. And so they're addicted to staying in that because at least they get some attention than none at all. No different than someone that might stay in an abusive relationship. They're so afraid of being alone, they'd much rather take the low level of attention, even if it's not positive attention. They'll take that over nothing, because the nothing, the loneliness, terrifies them so much more. And so a lot of people, they settle for mediocrity in their life. And for me personally, I don't want to come to the end of my life and have a feeling of regret. I don't want to come to the end of my life and think, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Or I don't want to come to the end of my life and have it say on my tombstone, potential still intact. I want it to say on my tombstone, no regrets. Maximize his potential. That's what I want people to say about me. But more importantly, I'm not living my life to get your validation or other people's approval. I'm trying to live my life on my terms, and hopefully you are as well. Not what anyone else thinks of you. Because to be honest with you, if you're going to live your life at a high level, then to everybody else, they're going to look at you like you're a little bit crazy or a little bit weird. But if you really compare yourself to everyone else, do you really want to be like everyone else? Do you really want to be like most of people in society who, 1 in 2 marriages end in divorce, and 1 in 3 people die from cancer and heart disease, and people, especially in the United States, are dealing with obesity, and most people are depressed and unhappy in their lives and struggle financially? Why would you want to be like everyone else? Why would you compare yourself to everyone else? And why would you even care what everyone else thinks? Because most of people in society, by my definition, are lethargic, and they're not they're not as happy as they could be. And so you could either fit in and be like everybody else, or you can stand out. And that's what it means to be outstanding, is to stand out from everyone else around you, to be extraordinary. And that's my standard that I have. And so some people might, look at me and say, wow, that guy's a little bit crazy. He is too obsessed with self-improvement or his health or his relationship or whatever it might be. And yeah, I am, because I'm terrified of the status quo. And I'm personally trying to get the most that I can out of my life here. So while I can eliminate as much as I can whatever's stopping me in my life, whatever's contributing to these low quality days, and I believe that we can cultivate awareness, and you absolutely can improve. You can improve. I don't care what your condition, what your circumstance is. In fact, right now I'm reading a really fantastic book called The Brain That Changes Itself. Amazing, amazing book. It talks about neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the idea that our brain is plastic, and there's all the science to support it, that our brain changes. And I'm reading about people that have gone through strokes and they've lost function in their arm or their leg, certain parts of their body, because part of their brain was destroyed. And they're able to train their brain, and the brain is able to regain function. Even people that have been through paralysis of some cases. I was also reading about people that have OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, pretty extreme cases, and they're able to make changes in the brain to help them with that. Or people that are going through addictions, whether it's alcohol or narcotics or whatever it might be. So we can absolutely change. There's so much science to support it. If you don't believe me, read the book, The Brain That Changes Itself, and there's many other sources of that. At the same time, I also want to know, when I have these great days, why? How can I figure out how to have more of those great days? What can I do to create more quality days in my life? Okay, well, we already know there's a lot of things we can do. We can exercise. I mean, if you're not exercising, then what are you doing? You know, every scientist, all the research supports that exercise is a fundamental, mandatory requirement for longevity and health and happiness for a human being. We're made to move. Okay, we're not made to sit in a cubicle all day, sit in front, on a chair or on the couch. We're made as human beings to be out in nature, being outside, exercising, moving and using our bodies. And if you don't use it, you lose it. And so if you're not exercising, the quality of life that you're going to have is going to be compromised. Hate to break it to you, you're going to be limiting what you're going to get from your body, and your body is your temple. The body is your vehicle that will determine the experience that you have in your life. I mean, if you're obese and if you are, just immobile and rigid in your life, that's kind of like death. Death is no movement. Life and aliveness is movement. And so if you want to be more alive, the more that you use your body, the more that you experience life and you experience more emotions, and your brain and your neurotransmitters are more optimized to support you feeling great. So exercise is just one of the most important things. For me, that's one of the standards I have no matter what. Every day I have to exercise, whether that's just going outside for a walk, whether it's getting on the treadmill, whether it's lifting some weights, whether it's playing basketball. When I go to Hawaii, it'll probably be some surfing, swimming, but I gotta move my body. That's such an important thing. And guess what? When you get in the habit of that, you're gonna have more great days. You're gonna feel better. Not at first. At first, if you don't exercise, you're gonna be sore, you're gonna be tired, your body has to adapt. Over time, you feel a lot better. Exercise, sleep. I use this ring here called the Aura Ring. This is a ring that tracks my activity, my sleep, my heart rate, my body temperature. It tracks all of that for me. I can monitor and see the quality of my sleep. What percentage of my sleep was deep sleep, REM sleep, light sleep. You need deep and REM sleep, for your body to recover, for your body to produce the hormones and all of that to support your health and well-being. If you're not sleeping, your health will be compromised. The quality of your life or the days that you have will be compromised. You'll get less out of your body, less out of this vehicle that allows you to do everything to do. You got to hydrate yourself. You got to be drinking water. You got to be eating healthy. What you put into your body has a consequence. You eat poor food, you're going to feel poorly. You're not going to perform the best. You eat plant-based foods, you eat foods that have nutritional value in it, then your body's going to perform better. You're going to feel better. You eat junk food, you eat sugar, you're going to get a temporary high, feel good for a moment, but then you're going to crash. And it's going to affect the days of your life and inhibit your experience of life. How about your mental and emotional well-being? What you put into your mind is affecting you. There's a consequence. The more time you spend just watching the news and reading all these negative things that you really can't control, how is that going to make you feel in your life? If you're always putting in poison in your body, if you're putting in poison in your mind, that's going to induce fear. It's going to induce insecurity and anxiety and cause problems in your mind as well. Even spending too much time on social media, on the computer, watching pornography or shopping or whatever it is, overstimulation of that is going to affect your mind. The brain is not made for this modern world that we live in. It hasn't adapted to it. It's made to go and socialize and have normal connection with people, not to overstimulate with video games and technology. You do that too much, and you become like a zombie. That's why when you see people, they're just so caught up in their head. They have no life to them. It's like they're overthinking everything. They haven't learned how to slow down their brain and allow themselves just to have the sensitivities to life, to breathing in air, to the sunlight, to everything around them that can allow them to feel so much more joy. So your mental, your emotional well-being is essential. Taking good care of your mental health. And that, unfortunately, mental health addiction is a very big problem in our society, and a lot of people that I know suffer from it, and I've even suffered from it to different extents in my life as well. And we don't have all the answers. I get it. We don't have all the answers to mental health problems, but we do have some things that can improve it. Exercise, eating healthy, sleep, who you spend time with and surround yourself with. If you only have so many days of your life, do you not want to make sure that the people you surround yourself with are positive people that make you feel better about yourself, that are happy for you, that when you do have a victory in your life and a success, you have a friend that's supportive and actually genuinely happy for you, that's a sign of a great friend. Versus a bad friend is the kind of person that when you're doing well in your life, they feel jealous and insecure and envious, and they try to bring you down because it makes them feel insecure because you're doing better than they are. That's not a good person to have in your life. You know, you want someone that's happy for you to improve and wants you to improve. So who you spend time with is who you become. Your ecosystem, your environment is going to influence your life, your beliefs, your values, all of that in a huge way. And obviously the most important decision you ever make in your life is who you spend your life with. The decision that you make of who you're going to marry, if you are going to get married, is the most important decision you're going to make in your life. That other person, you better make sure that they're a person that's going to support you living a great quality of life for the rest of your life. Because once you get married to that person, and if you're going to make that commitment and make those vows, you know, not unless you want to go through a divorce, which unfortunately so many people do, not unless you want to cause trauma to your kids, which unfortunately so many kids go through. A lot of that can be prevented and avoided by choosing the right person. And, you know, there's a whole thing I could talk about there, but making sure that you've got the right person in your life is going to affect your life. You know, you could be on the path to improve yourself and be happy and positive and make changes, but if the person that you're with is negative and pessimistic and closed-minded and judgmental and critical and doesn't care to improve themselves in any way, that is going to affect you. That's going to hold you back. And if you're trying to do more in your life and grow, you're going to subconsciously resent that person because you're going to feel like they're holding you back from what you could be. You know, and they're going to resent you as well because they feel like you're changing and you're, you know, different than, you know, the person that they wanted to be with. And so being with someone that's open-minded and also wants to improve their life and shares the same vision, the same direction as you is equally important. That way you can move in the same direction. You grow together versus growing apart, which unfortunately so many relationships go through. So all of these things, guys, they all make a difference in our life. Your life, everything you do matters. Everything you do matters. And if you want to create a great quality of life, then you have to focus more on what matters. A lot of people, they major in minor things, right? They spend their time focusing on things in their life that don't really matter that much. They're so caught up in the latest gossip. They're so caught up in the latest celebrity news. They're so caught up in crap that's happening, you know, that's just so meaningless in their lives or other people's lives. They're an extra in their own movie is essentially what it is versus being the star. And a lot of people, they're just like, they're on the stands watching other people live their life, you know, these celebrities and influencers or whatever it might be, instead of getting on the court and taking that risk and putting themselves out there and living the best quality of life that they can live. That's living your life. Not just sitting there on the sidelines where it's safe and comfortable and you can be a critic and judge other people, where it's safe and convenient for you. If you live in that comfort zone, that will be your danger zone and that will be the demise of your life. Because if you're allowing your fear of rejection and failure to stop you from living your life, then at the end of your life, you're going to have your days go by and you're going to feel a deep sense of regret, the ultimate pain. Jim Rohn, one of my mentors, said there's two pains of life: the pain of discipline and the pain of regret. Discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. You don't want to experience the pain of regret. So you have to decide, are you going to allow your fears to stop you from living your life? Or are you going to put yourself out there and live your life the best you can? And yeah, you're going to fail. Yeah, you'll make mistakes. Yeah, people will judge and criticize you, but who cares what everyone else thinks? These are people just sitting on the stands, you know, and they're just going to comment things here and there, but their life, look at their life. You know, they're not living their life either. They're not going for it. At least you are, right? At least you are doing something with your life. You know, one of my favorite quotes is, if you want to avoid criticism in life, then say nothing, do nothing, and you'll be nothing. But if you say something and you do something, at least then you can be something and someone. And yes, you might get criticism, but none of that really matters. Most people aren't even thinking about you anyways. It's so egotistical, actually, people worry so much what people think of them. People aren't really thinking about you that much. You know, one of my other quotes that I like that I've heard is that in your 20s and 30s, you're worried about what people think of you. In your 30s and 40s, you stop worrying what people think of you. You just get, you know, more mature and you don't care as much. in your 60s and 70s, you realize that people weren't even thinking about you to begin with. You know, people aren't sitting there every day thinking about you. They think about you, they judge you, they make a criticism, and then they move on with their lives. They're on to criticizing the next person, or they're criticizing themselves. That's usually how it is for most people, right? They're just kind of living in a place of self-pity in their lives, and they're not, you know, they just spread their negativity to other people because they're unhappy with themselves. And they see you living your life. It really has nothing to do with you. They're projecting onto you. The fact that you're out there living your life, it makes them feel insignificant about themselves and their life. And so it makes them feel unhappy and remind them that they're settling in their lives. And so the simplest way they can feel better about themselves is by criticizing you. As the saying goes, if you want to have the tallest building in a city, you can build the building yourself, which requires tremendous amount of hard work, preparation, time, sacrifice, patience to build a tall building in a city. Or you could tear down everyone else. It's a lot easier and faster to tear down everyone else, and then you can have the tallest building in the city. And that's what a lot of people do instead of going through the process of building themselves up, which is really the key. So improve your life, guys. And for me, my path of self-improvement, life improvement, has been learning from others, having an open mind. I'm open to anything, as I said. I don't care what it is, I'll give it a go. I'll give it a try. And sometimes the things that I try, sometimes the things I invest in, they don't work out. But if I tried 10 different things in my life, if I invest in 10 different books, 10 different courses, 10 different resources, I make 10 different attempts, but 7 of them suck and they don't work out, they don't do anything for me, but 3 of them do, then for me, that's a huge victory. That's a huge success, because now I just discovered 3 things are going to make my life better for the rest of my life. And I'm willing to endure things that suck. I'm willing to endure failure and things not working out the way I wanted or expected to find those 3 things. Because imagine what my life would be like if I never found those 3 things. If I just decided to be skeptical and closed off and never tried anything new, then I keep getting more of the same. You keep doing what you've always done, you keep getting what you've always got. If you want things to change, you must change. You must be willing to try something different and new and step outside that comfort zone and take a risk. And understand that yes, you're going to go through pain in life. Pain is a part of life. But it's really the key is learning how to process pain. Pain does not have to lead to suffering. We're all going to experience pain, but it's whether or not when you experience pain, you use that pain to close yourself off more and build walls and try to control everything in your life, in which case you end up building a prison for yourself in your life, and you never really have freedom in your life. You have this prison where everything is safe, and you often see people that are trying to, they're control freaks. You're a control freak because you're trying to protect yourself from experiencing pain. You want to keep it all out. But when you try to keep out the pain, the bad guys, the bad stuff from entering your world so you don't experience it, you also prevent the good stuff from flowing into your life. The good relationships, the abundance, the new possibilities, the things that can actually help or enhance your life. But it's how you interpret events of your life that's going to determine whether it's painful or not. And you have to learn how to master your mind, the meaning in life. That when painful things happen, you got to learn to realize that the pain or the event that you're going through, there's a purpose behind it. And maybe that purpose is for you to grow. Maybe the purpose of your pain or the thing that happened that was outside of your control, that wasn't in your favor, maybe that's going to help you grow. Maybe you can learn from that. Maybe that's going to make your future better in some way. Maybe you can use that as motivation and fuel in your life and improve your life as a result of it. I believe that everything happens for a purpose and a reason, and it serves me in my life. And because I believe that, I always look for the good. And my pain becomes my greatest asset. It's what's allowed me to do what I do today, allowed me to live this mission, my purpose in my life. It's because I've gone through so much pain in my life, but I chose instead to look at that pain as a blessing, to grow, to improve myself, to get better. I've learned and grown so much that now I get to live my life being a role model, hopefully for you and for other people, to inspire them and share, hey, you know what? I went through this problem, I went through that problem, I went through that problem, and this is what I did. This is how I overcame it. And this is what I learned from that, and I can pass it on to you to help you in your life. But you can't live a life avoiding pain, because a life like that is a life of it's just a low quality of life. It's a life of mediocrity. So embrace the pain. Learn how to change your beliefs around pain and failure and mistakes. Change the meaning of it. Look for the good in things and you'll always find it. Sometimes you go through a painful event in your life and in the moment it's very painful, but it's not till years later that you look back and you're grateful for it. And you're like, oh my gosh, because of that painful moment, look where I am today, or look who I have in my life today. It's like, when you're in high school and you had a crush on someone and you really, really liked them and they didn't want to be with you, or they broke your heart, or you're in a relationship and they broke up with you and it's so painful and you make it seem like it's your whole world, is over because you went through a breakup. I've been there, I'm not sure if you have, but 16 years old, I remember the girl, and her name was Katie, and broke my heart, and I was crying and devastated, went to a depression. But you don't realize when you look back on that, oh my gosh, it was, if it wasn't for this breakup, look where I am today. And I would have never found Tatiana in my life if that girl ended up wanting to be with me. Who knows where it could have gone, right? But I look at all of that. The painful moments of your life can be a blessing and really can be there to support you. But you have to change your programming, change your beliefs, change your focus. You got to take control of this mind and not have it control you. Not allow the environment and all that to control and dictate your quality of life. And so having an open mind, for me, self-development has been my saving grace. I'm so grateful to God, and I'm so grateful for all the teachers, the role models, all the people out there that have the courage to share, to put themselves out there, to share what they've learned and their knowledge and all of that. Because, if I didn't have access to the internet, to books, to resources, to courses, then who knows where my life would be. And that's why I'm so passionate about what I do. I'm so passionate to share with you guys, to share the things that I've learned. That's why I've created courses. That's why I've published over 1,000 videos for free on YouTube. That's why I've done what I've done. Is because I realize the benefit and the transformation that I've experienced as the result of being a lifelong learner and having an open mind and trying things. And I'm trying to pass it on to you guys so that hopefully your life can improve. And I'm not here to say that I have every answer. I don't. And I'm not even here to say that everything I'm sharing with you is the right fit for you. Maybe there's someone else that you could follow that is more in alignment and resonates with the way you want to live your life. I don't know. There's obviously people out there that have very different belief systems. So find someone, find people, seek out mentors and books and courses and resources, and put everything you can into getting all of that at your fingertips, and utilize it again and again and again as much as you can. And when you first learn, listen, don't have a perfectionist mentality and think you're going to retain everything you learn. Don't think you're going to be able to do everything you learn. It's a process. It's a long-term journey of life. But the goal is, as I started off saying this, is just every day, just try to get better. Just try to get a little bit better. A little bit better over time. The improvements don't have to be huge. It's just small incremental improvements. I remember Pat Riley, one of the greatest coaches of all time. He coached the Los Angeles Lakers back in the 80s, and he coached Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and many incredible athletes. And I remember hearing the story about when they lost in the finals to the Boston Celtics. And they were devastated over that, and they had one of their best seasons, I think, and they lost. They had one of their greatest seasons, and they gave it all they could. They left it all on the floor, but they lost. And I remember Pat Riley was sharing the story when he went to the team the next year in the preseason. He was telling the team that this is, if we were going to beat the Boston Celtics, this is what we got to do. We got to make this improvement, that improvement, all this stuff. And he was sharing with them how much they've got to grow and improve. And the players just disconnected from that because they're like, we gave everything we could. We gave everything we could, and now you're trying to tell us we got to improve this, this, and this. And it's just, they didn't believe that they could beat that team. And so what Pat Riley did is he said, listen, let's look at it in a different way. We just got to make small incremental improvements. What if we just improve our rebounding by 1%? Our ability to rebound the basketball by 1%. Well, what if we improve our free throws just by 1%? Well, what if we improve, our defense, our perimeter defense just by 1%? What if we improve our interior defense just by 1%? And he just looked at everything as these small incremental improvements, and he broke it down to small bite-sized chunks that everybody could buy in. And it was so small that everyone realized, wow, if we each make this little improvement, if we each make a small improvement, then collectively together as a team, we're going to be this much better. And that's what could allow us to win. And sure enough, they did. And so if you're going to get better at anything, you've got to have a growth mindset, not a fixed mindset. There's a great book called Growth, where it talks about that. I think it's from Carol Dweck. And it talks about the difference between a fixed mindset, someone closed off, versus a growth mindset, someone that's always open and willing to grow. And if you don't grow, you die. So if you want to improve your life, grow or die. And slowly you'll wither away. Your life, the quality of your life, you'll end up one day looking at your life and looking around you and saying, what happened? Sitting on the couch, overweight, sick, tired, broke, alone. Do you really want your life to be that? You have that the chance right now to change your future. Because right now, whatever your life looks like is the byproduct of the decisions you made in the past. Those decisions led you to the life you have today. If you don't like it, then do something about it. Do something about it. Make new choices, decisions today in your life so that 5 or 10 years from now, wherever you arrive, your life will be better than what it is today. That's the focus. Constant improvement in your life. Kaizen, which is a Japanese philosophy of constant improvement. Make improvements, guys. And understand sometimes life improvement, it's never up like this. It's like you make some progress and then you hit a plateau and then you go down a little bit, you get off track, you get sidelined, you get distracted, you go through some difficulties, it goes up and then it goes down and then it goes up and then it goes down and then it goes up and then it goes down. And it's just a constant trend. As long as the trend is up, that's what matters. That's what matters. And don't compare yourself to anyone else. Who cares what everyone else is doing? Everyone else has their own journey. Everyone else has their own shit that they're dealing with in their life. I don't care what they look like on the outside. They've got their problems and their challenges in their life. If they're really beautiful and really attractive and physically, genetically, they've been gifted, there's other problems that they're facing in their life that maybe you've got sorted out and you've got handled that you're not going through, right? So everyone's got something. You know, and comparing yourself is just, it's such a stupid thing to do because you don't know the whole picture. You're just looking at one side of the picture, but you don't know the whole side and everything, and you don't know even the next 10 years and 20 years. And the only way to accurately compare anything is over a lifetime and every facet of that person in their life, which you can never do. So it's pointless to compare yourself to anybody. You're just, looking at it from one perspective, a very limited one, in a moment in time. But who knows, maybe this person that you're comparing yourself to, maybe 10 years from now, they're gonna have cancer. And then in which case, now if you do a comparison, your life is better than theirs because they have to deal with that, right? So it's just stupid to compare yourself to anybody. Focus on your life and what you can do and focus on being better than you were yesterday. Compare yourself just to yourself, the best of yourself. And go through your journey in life to be the best you can be. That's all you can do. You focus on things you can't control, you're gonna go crazy. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of your time worrying what other people think of you and all that. That's why, for me personally, I don't spend much time on the internet, believe it or not. I'm an internet marketer that doesn't spend much time on the internet. It's true. I record my videos. I've got a great team that supports me. I do the work that I need to do, and then I get off the computer and I live my life. I go about my day. I'm not getting caught up in gossip and social media and discussions and things like that. Here's my contribution. This is the terms that I want to contribute to the world. I'm going to put out great videos. I'm going to do my sessions, my coaching sessions. I'm going to create some courses. I'm going to do and serve and support the ways that I want to. And then I'm going to go and live my life and not get caught up in all the other stuff that is going on, commenting and all that sort of stuff. And sometimes it's great to read comments and go through it and engage with you guys as I am today, but I'm going to do it in a limited capacity. I'm not going to get too obsessed over it. You see enough positive things about yourself, it can inflate your ego, and that's not healthy. You see a lot of negative things and criticism, then that can affect you too. So it's best not to take any of that personally and not have that neediness or that desire for other people's approval. And I think that's the healthiest way to live. And that's what served me as well. So that's my little rant. I know I've been talking a little while here, but I want to answer your questions. So, I just want the best for you guys. I want the best for my life. I really want the best for me, and I want the best for you. It's in my best self-interest for you to live a great life. The more you live your great life, the more the world gets better. If everybody started living a great life and adopting the mindset of what I just shared with you today, then I think the world would be a lot better place. I really do. For me, it's in my best self-interest to share the things that I learn with my family, with my friends, with you guys, my followers, because I'm going to be in relationship with all of those people in my life. And if I want to have a great quality of life, I want them to be happy. I want other people to be doing well as well. If I just do well in my life, or you just do well, but your spouse and your kids and your parents and your siblings, if all their lives are, they're not happy, then that's going to affect your life. It's going to kind of cast a shadow on that in some way. And so I believe that sharing is caring. And I believe in sharing and trying to help other people. And I don't have this scarcity mentality where I'm trying to keep everything I learned to myself. That's just stupid. You know, if I actually had that mentality, I wouldn't be where I am today, because the only reason why I'm where I'm at today is because other people were willing to share and they had an abundance mentality. If all these incredible people in life had a scarcity mentality and kept everything to themselves, then the world would not be better. You know, I wouldn't be better for it. So I believe in paying it forward and passing it on. And I don't have the perfect life. I have challenges and struggles, and I'm trying to improve and get better. And that's just a continuous journey for me as well. And, you know, I can share things that have helped me in my life and things that I've learned. And I look forward and I celebrate all the challenges that I face in my life, because I know that they make me better and I can solve everything that's put in front of me. I really believe that. It can take time, might be challenging, but I will be on the other side of anything that's thrown in my way. I truly believe that. And so that mentality of constant improvement and the belief and the faith that you and the confidence you get in yourself, especially when you've already changed areas of your life, you believe that you can conquer anything. And there's so much resources and help, and it's just crazy. There's so much available for us to utilize so that our lives can get better as a result. All right, my friends, love you guys. I really do. How about we dive into some questions? I got my Hulk drink here. Hey, Jonathan. Jonathan says, hey, Stefan, I'm just going to pick random questions, post them here for me, guys. I might have missed some, but I'll do my best. Jonathan says, I'm listening to The Power of Now. Awesome. Eckhart Tolle, great book. Read that book when I was 21 years old. A New Earth is great. And just to add to this, Oprah has a really awesome interview with Eckhart Tolle as a podcast, but maybe even on YouTube, where she actually interviews him and they discuss and answer questions on each chapter of the book, A New Earth. Highly recommend it. Really, really great. Okay. I'm listening to The Power of Now. I'm curious if you focus on being present while working to focus on and enjoy the process while detaching from the outcome. Great question, Jonathan. To be honest with you, this is one of the biggest areas of my life that I focus on. I focus on living in the present, and I focus on mindfulness and cultivating awareness and being very mindful of the things that I do. But here's what I've learned. When it comes to productivity and really focusing on getting things done, let's say, I've found it more useful for me to not be as present with that. And so here's how I look at it, okay? So to be ultra productive, for me at least, it requires me working fast, working efficiently, working intelligently, and trying to maximize what I can in what I'm trying to do to get it done fast, move on to the next thing. And it is more of a living in the head, analytical kind of state that I'm usually in, and more future oriented, I'd say. That's what's served me incredibly well for productivity and for success. But that's not the recipe for happiness. If you really want to be happy and fulfilled, then that's going to require slowing down, being present, being very mindful of what you're doing, really enjoying what you're doing, and that's probably going to require you spending a lot more time. So for example, if you're going to respond to an email, for me personally, I'm going to respond to this email fast, efficiently, so I can move on. That's not as mindful and being present. The present way is like to really read the email and then really take your time and enjoy the process of writing the response. That's the formula for getting the most out of the moment and feeling the happiest. So what I've learned and what I've recognized is I personally still prefer when I work fast, efficient, get it done, move on to the next. And I'm in a position, I have a pretty crazy life at times where I have too much stuff going on, and I've kind of learned I have to just be efficient to get the things that I need to get done. But I think as I get older, I'll probably make more of a transition to that. But here's the key. The mindfulness, the presence, I still cultivate that, but I cultivate that more in different areas of my life where I don't need to utilize efficiency. So I cultivate that in my relationship, during lovemaking, during conversation, eating food, sometimes going to the gym. Sometimes I go to the gym and I'm not listening to anything. I'm just trying to be present in what I'm doing. Other times I'm listening to a podcast, music, whatever it might be. So I've learned there's different areas of life that I utilize that, and I do meditation and prayer every day too. So that's a ritual that I have in my life that's supported me. So I have parts of the day and throughout the week for the presence and the mindfulness, but for my business, I want to get these things done. I want to get it done efficiently. and that's what served me well. So hopefully that answers it for you. Okay, Paul says, how can I detox mercury fillings? So first, if you have mercury fillings, you want to get those removed. But you have to be very careful when you remove mercury fillings because during the process of the dentist removing it, it can actually cause more mercury to go into your bloodstream and your body, and that can wreak havoc in your health, and especially can go into past what's called the blood-brain barrier and go into your brain and be very, very problematic. So if you are going to get mercury fillings removed, which I absolutely recommend, I had one mercury filling that got removed once I learned about the toxicity of mercury in my body and got tested for it and detoxed it for over a year. I learned you got to go to a holistic dentist and someone that actually knows how to remove it properly, so that when they remove it, it doesn't go into your bloodstream. So you're going to have to find a professional, a dentist that can help you with that. If you want to detox mercury from your body and you get a test, I'd recommend doing a hair analysis. It was very hard for me because I don't have much hair, but I had to grow out my hair for that. You need like an inch of hair to do it. But a hair analysis is the best, most accurate representation of mercury and metals and minerals in your body because it can measure more long-term, what it is. Be very careful about chelation therapy and doing the detox through that, where they're going to, use an IV and they're going to use different, through chelation, you're going to have to, it's basically going to pull mercury out of your body in too much of an aggressive way, which can have it recirculate and cause havoc. And then they test your urine as the way to test that. But that's not the most accurate. And so the person I'd recommend learning from, his name is Andy Cutler. He has a Facebook group, Andy Cutler Mercury Detox Facebook group. He's got a great book and some other resources. And from all the research that I did, he has the best protocol for detoxing in the safest way. It is a bitch, not gonna lie. You're using certain supplements and obviously avoiding mercury, but it is a process. It is worth it. Okay. Okay, FC, how to keep distance from negative people that I deeply care about? Love them from a distance. Still love them, but love them from a distance. Limit and decide how much time you want to spend with that person in your life. You have to evaluate the people in your life and say, is this person contributing to the life I want to live, or are they toxic or problematic in my life? And this is very difficult, very sensitive topic because we love our family, we love certain people in our lives. Family members, you can't just abandon them. They're part of your family. And I believe, because we all have difficult family members. Nobody has a purely functional family, right? We all have, to some extent, we have dysfunctional families or certain people that are very different than us, I guess. But I've learned that there's certain people you got to love from a distance, and you have to appreciate what they bring to your life. And what I mean by that is I believe that the people in our lives are the spiritual teachers of our life. Your parents, your siblings. If you have a parent, for example, that might be a bit negative or a little bit challenging to be in relationship with, I look at it, they're a spiritual teacher for me. And that they're put in my life to teach me how to be compassionate and not judgmental towards them. How to still be loving and accept them for who they are. Teaching me how to not be irritated or frustrated or angry or upset, because maybe they trigger that within you and you can't change them, but you can change why you're triggered by that and overcome and heal yourself. Or maybe they're going to teach you how to be more patient in your life, or maybe they're going to help you. Oftentimes we either become like our parents or we reject how they are, we become the opposite. And so either they have qualities that you want to become, or in sometimes the case of certain family members or parents is they teach you how to be a different person. They teach you to, I don't want to be like how my dad was, so I want to, maybe today you're a more caring, you're a more sensitive person because of that person, and if it wasn't for that, you wouldn't be who you are today. So they're a spiritual teacher in your life, and you have to look at it that way as an opportunity for you to grow and still love them. And maybe you have to just limit the time you spend with them and spend time with them a little bit more strategically. Maybe not every day, maybe not every week, maybe just a few times a month, maybe once a month. And spend more time with people that support you in your life and that are more how you want to be. Great questions, guys. Great questions. Sean says, do you have a morning ritual? Yes, Sean. I got many videos on morning rituals on my channel. In fact, I've got a course called Morning Ritual Mastery. And you can check that out, morningritualmastery.com. Okay. And I'll just share a few things from my morning ritual. I pray in the morning. I do a cold shower in the morning. I believe every day, do something that sucks. Do something that sucks. Like a cold shower is the king of that, right? Because it sucks. And what it teaches you to do is to realize that there's parts of life that suck. There's things you're going to have to do in life that suck, but you do them anyways, because that's called life. And you want to cultivate and build that muscle of discipline and willpower to do things that suck. You can't live a life and just do everything that's when you feel good. You know, you're not always going to feel good. You're going to be tired at times. And we live in a generation today where unfortunately we're not as, I guess, emotionally tested and strong as previous generations. I mean, if you look at our grandparents, our great-grandparents, they went through a lot harder circumstances. They look at us today and they're like, oh my gosh, these people are so spoiled. They got the internet and all this stuff, right? So learn to cultivate your emotional fitness and discipline. And, you know, a cold shower, guys, a lot of people are like freaked out by that. Here's how you start doing cold showers. You take a warm shower. At the end of the shower, you turn your back to the shower head. You have it run just on the back of your neck and the back and your shoulders here, which is the best place to do so. And what you do is just at the end of your shower, you just turn it on cold. Turn it on cold, you count to 30, and then you finish your shower. And maybe at first you can't tolerate it, it might be too much for you, then just make it a little bit cold. And then every day, go a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further. Then eventually you build a tolerance to it and you get better. And it's the best way to start your day. You feel good about yourself. You feel good about yourself. There's a lot of benefits in terms of stimulating your metabolism and fat loss and immune system function. There's a lot of great benefits to using cold water and cold showers. And the king of this would be Wim Hof. Wim Hof is known as the Iceman, and he's done some pretty incredible things in the cold. All right, let's dive into some more questions, guys. Design says, are you able to rewatch this stream later? Sure, yeah, you can watch the recording of this afterwards. Thank you, guys. Appreciate all the kind words. Whenever I do these streams, guys, I see the kind words. I appreciate it, but I'm always trying to efficiently, just to give you an example, just how my brain works. I try to, who else can I help? What's the next question that I have? Instead of, as that person said, you know, I could just be more present and really feel some of the things that people share with me and take it in, but I tend to work a little bit more efficiently at times like this. Ooh, this is a great question. What helps you to be more objective? Ooh, I like that question. Well, what I look at like an idea or a thought. The best way when you have like an idea or a thought or something that you learn is to try to not just accept it, okay, but to actually attack it from many different perspectives. And you want to find the flaw and the weakness in that idea. And based on that, then you can choose whether or not you accept it, believe it, take it in. And I find that helps me be objective because I try to look at different perspectives and different sides of something. I think no matter how thin you slice it, there's always two sides. And you know, one thing that Stephen Covey teaches, he wrote a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. One of the habits is to seek first to understand, then to be understood. And so I try to look at all different perspectives, and I try to remove emotion from it. I think there's a lot of people that their emotion gets in the way and it can blind them. Their hate can blind them. So, you know, obviously we live in a very divisive time right now, I'd say, and there's certain, you know, political leaders. You probably know who I'm talking about. There's a lot of people that hate him. And I can understand. I can totally understand that. And I'm not a fan of him, and I'm not a political person. I don't know really enough. But I find that sometimes with politics, with religion, with some of these very sensitive topics, a lot of people have so much emotion tied to it that they don't allow themselves to see another perspective of it. And for me, I've gotten a little bit more interested in politics. I'm not an American, I'm a Canadian. And so you know, as an outsider, sometimes you watch the entertainment factor of it, I guess, and you can't help but get your attention. But one thing that I've always just tried to be curious about is I want to understand all sides. I want to understand people that believe in this, and I want to understand people that believe in the opposite. Same thing with religion and spirituality. I want to understand the Christian viewpoint. I want to understand the Jewish viewpoint. I want to understand the Muslim viewpoint. I want to understand a Buddhist viewpoint. I want to understand an atheist viewpoint. I want to understand all sides, and I enjoy that. I appreciate that. And sometimes when something challenges my belief or my faith or something that, I've a doctrine that I might subscribe to, I guess, I try to understand it more and try to say, okay, well, that's interesting. That's a really good point. Let me see if I can I need to ponder that a little bit more and look at it from different perspectives and different angles. So I guess that's what helps me to be objective, is just having an open mind, being open to all different sides, questioning things, learning things. I think we all have obviously different biases as well. But I think I've learned just through my experiences, especially because I've traveled a lot, especially at a young age. I've learned to, I'm not a very sheltered person. Like I've experienced a lot of life. I've experienced many different cultures, and I'm trying to learn and grow as much as I can from every single culture and every belief system. And I actually get that a lot from being an influencer and a YouTuber as well, because sometimes I have people that have very different belief systems than me. Like some of my subscribers and followers have very different beliefs, and obviously people that perhaps don't like me or they're not a subscriber and follower, critics, they have a very different belief system as well. And so I don't try to judge anyone for that or criticize them. I just want to understand. I want to understand, okay, why, interesting, why did you have that perspective? Why did you have that perception? I'm willing to try it on. I'm willing to try on and look at things from their perspective, and then look at things from my perspective or other perspectives, and then look at, okay, well, this is the perspective that I think is the most beneficial one and that serves me the best and serves my life and other people's lives as well. So I just try to have an open mind and look at things from many different perspectives and remove emotion from it. Okay, let's see here. Okay, hey Katrina. Katrina says, how do you stop self-sabotage? Well, I think, first of all, it's hard to really answer this, because I'd have to really get to know you a little bit and understand the context of it. But first, the first thing what I would personally do is, what does that mean to you? What does that mean, self-sabotage? What does that look like? How is that showing up in your life? I believe that to change anything in your life, you need awareness. You have to be aware. And just through awareness alone, you can change anything in your life. You really can. You can change a belief, you can change an addiction, because if you just become more and more aware of something, which means just paying more attention to it and being aware of the triggers, being aware of why this happens, where this happens, analyzing it, becoming more and more aware, then you eventually get to a point where you can stop. You can stop sabotaging yourself. You can stop the addictive pattern, because you become more mindful and you realize, you get to a point of awareness where you're like, oh, hey, this is my thing that I do that I've recognized in the past. That's my pattern. And this is why I'm doing it. It's because of this trauma in my life or this belief system that I formed. And you become aware of it, and then you are better at decision making and making better choices. And really that's what changes our life, is the decisions that we make. And every moment we're making a decision. Right now you're making a decision of what to focus on, what meaning to create from different events of your life. You make a decision when you have an impulse, when you have a trigger, when you feel stress or anxiety. When you become aware, you see, oh, that's leading me down this path of eating sugar, or that's leading me down this path of sabotage, which again, you gotta, I think, really define what that means and what that looks like. What does that look like, sabotage? It's probably rooted in some level of fear that you have, that you get too close to success or momentum and you sabotage. And I think we'd have to figure out, what is that like? What are you doing to sabotage it? And is that really sabotage? And how can you become more aware of that? And what's the belief and what's leading to that? I think you just got to become very aware, hyper aware of all that, analyze it, learn your patterns, journal. I journal every day, guys. Every day I take up my journal and I write down my patterns, and I break things down, and I look at, I know all my weaknesses, I know all my flaws, and I become more aware of them all the time, every day. And that allows me to do something and improve and make progress towards it. So awareness is key, and break down what that really is for you and how you're sabotaging yourself, and go deep on that so that you can be free from that once and for all. How do you enjoy the process despite an activity not being so fun and mentally taxing? Okay. Well, what is fun for you might not be fun for someone else. And what's not fun for you, what might be mentally taxing for you, might be very rewarding and very enjoyable for someone else. There's people that hate cleaning. Okay, I'm one of them. I'm not a big fan of cleaning. And there's people that love cleaning. They really do. They love to clean. There's people that hate to cook. There's people that love to cook. So, and by the way, there's even people that get a lot of pleasure out of pain. In fact, in the book that I referenced to you guys, The Brain That Changes Itself, it's shared because it talks about neuroplasticity and the wiring of the brain. There's people that are masochistic or sadomasochistic, which means they get pleasure out of pain. There's people, for example, it sounds horrific, but there's people that they get a lot of pleasure sexually out of being beaten up, being cut, like abusive, physically violent, and painful things. And they've linked in their brain pleasure to that. Okay, so they have a link in their brain, pleasure to receiving harm. And it's pretty wild, but that relates to, this book pinpoints certain neurons that were wired together based in their childhood that now they kind of have this wiring and this pattern that contributes to that. And you can change it. You can absolutely change it, which is what this book is about and why it's pretty incredible. So what I look at, what is pleasurable to you, what you're saying is you're doing things in your life, they're not fun and they're not taxing. Well, number one is learn how to develop the muscle and the ability to still do those things anyways, because life is not going to have everything that you want to do. You're going to have to do things you don't want to do, and you have to learn how to, be the kind of person that is such an amazing, powerful person in life that you can still do those things. So look at the person in your life, the person that you could be that could do these things. Be that person. Be that person that is still living their life and has the standard for themselves, that they have the discipline and the capacity to do these things no matter what. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is you've created an association in your brain of pain to doing this. Whereas other people, the difference that people that love doing these things, they link and associate in their brain pleasure to the process of doing it. So all it is an association, a link that you've connected in your brain of pain or pleasure to whatever it is. And you can change that. You can rewire your brain based on that. You have to learn how to start to link pleasure and associate that to the things that you don't want to do. So let's say that it's going to the gym. You don't like going to the gym. And that's, you link pain to that, so that's why you don't do it. Obviously, there's people that love going to the gym. I'm one of them. I can't not go to the gym. I feel pain if I don't go to the gym. I feel like I didn't do anything. I didn't take care of my body for the day. There was once a time I did not enjoy going to the gym, but I've learned to associate pleasure to it. So here's what you do. Every time you go to the gym or every time you do the thing that you link pain to, start to celebrate that and reward yourself and give yourself pleasure. Positive reinforcement, okay? That act alone, what's happening in your brain is you have these neurons that fire together. Neurons that fire together wire together, okay? So the more that you link pleasure, these neurons, these pathways get wired together, and that's how you form a habit. So positive reinforcement is key. Things that I do when I go, I go to the gym, I pat myself on the back. Great job, Stefan. I give myself a high five. And I'm silly, I'm playful about it. I'm not taking things too seriously. I look myself in the mirror. Often I work out in my building, the gym, and there's a mirror in the elevator. So I'm coming up and I'm looking at myself and say, great job, Stefan, proud of you. And I give myself pleasure and praise and reward, no different to the pleasure and praise that you wish that you had from your parents growing up. And I'm sure we all feel that we didn't get enough of it, but man, imagine what that would have done to you in your life when you're a kid and your parents said, great job, and they gave you all this love. And in fact, that's how you learn how to walk and how to speak. When you first make an attempt to walk when you're a kid, your parents are like, oh my God, Stefan's walking. They get so excited and they give you all this love, which encourages you to keep trying, and you get pleasure from that. And that's why everybody today's walks. When you try to talk, when you try to say, da, 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 your dad says, oh my gosh, he said dada. He's trying to say dada. He doesn't get mad at you and scold you and say, it's daddy. Get mad and beat you up around that. No, of course not. We need positive reinforcement and pleasure to reinforce habits in our lives. So that's an example. There's obviously a lot more to it than that. There's a lot of exercises, things you can do to link pleasure to whatever it is that you're not linking pleasure to. You can ask yourself questions. what do I love about this? What could I love about doing this? What could this give me in my life? And start linking in your brain more pleasure to doing it. And then eventually you enjoy doing it. So, all right. All right, Patricia says, what's the best advice that you can give a young entrepreneur? Well, great. I think, one of the definitions I like of an entrepreneur is that an entrepreneur is someone that makes enough money to pay for their mistakes. And that's true, because as an entrepreneur, you're someone that is deciding that you're going to take life in your hands. You're not going to settle for the status quo. You're going to give up the comforts and security that a job can provide, and you want more, and you want to do more, and you have a vision, and as a result of that, you're going to step into the unknown and step outside your comfort zone, and you're going to fail. You're going to make mistakes. But an entrepreneur is someone that makes enough to pay for them, makes enough to keep going, and is willing to endure that. And I'd say my advice is what makes a great entrepreneur, in my opinion, is someone that has that unstoppable mindset, that mindset of growth, that mindset of going for it, taking chances, never giving up. And so continue to work on yourself, work on your mindset, study other successful entrepreneurs, read books on them, read their biographies, surround yourself with entrepreneurs, find mastermind groups and other young entrepreneurs as well. And I mean, today being an entrepreneur is the hot thing. They're everywhere. There's groups, there's communities, and just be around them as much as you can so that they inspire you and you can collaborate with them and mastermind with them and help each other. There's groups like EO, Entrepreneurs Organization. I think that group might be a criteria of making a certain amount of money to be a part of it, but there's other groups too that you can find. But surround yourself with that and work on your mindset and learn and hustle. And that's what it is. All right, let's dive into some more questions. Hopefully you guys are having fun and getting some inspiration here. If you are, give this video a thumbs up. That's a good indicator to me that I'm doing a good job and on the track to giving you some value today. All right, let's see here. Ooh, it's an interesting question from Adam. What do you miss about life prior to your money? I guess what you're asking is, before I had money, what do I miss about that, I guess, about my past, I guess. Well, I think, there's always things from our past based on different stages of our lives that we look back and, we have fondness of or we miss. For example, being younger, just having less responsibility for sure, because when you have less responsibility, you're, able to have more fun in your life perhaps, or have less stress and less problems or challenges. My life today is a lot different than it was before. I have a lot more responsibility in my life. I have a team of people. I have obligations to people. I have subscribers, you guys, that I have to, create videos every week for and cater to and try to maintain my business and the responsibility of that, and trying to still deliver for you guys and maintain, the expectations that you guys have of me. So, living up to those expectations. I've got customers, of course, of courses and products of mine that I, have expectations of me as well to, I'm responsible to try to do the best I can for. So I guess, one of them is, before having a business and all that, I just had less responsibility. And I'm, no different, I think, to someone that has kids. Having kids is a beautiful thing in life and provides a lot of great meaning to your life. But I'm sure every parent misses that time in their life when they were younger, before they had kids, because, back then they had a little more freedom and they could do different things and less worries and less anxieties perhaps as well. So there's kind of a trade-off. And the reality is, in life, we have to grow up. And people that always avoid responsibility, they kind of suffer from what is called the Peter Pan syndrome, which is they don't want to grow up. They want to live in Neverland, which is this fantasy world, and they are the king of the lost boys. But the problem is, who wants to be the king of the lost boys? Who wants to be lost in their life? And Peter Pan doesn't want to grow up. He doesn't want to be an adult. He doesn't want to have the responsibilities of one. In fact, the only adult that he knows is Captain Hook, who is a tyrant. And he rejects that, because why would you want to be like Captain Hook? And Captain Hook is afraid of his mortality. He's afraid of clocks. Every clock reminds him of his mortality. And so Peter Pan has an opportunity to grow up. Wendy wants to have a family, wants to experience more of life than just being in this fantasy world and just being a boy and being kids. And so there's a lot of people in our society, I think, that are afraid of responsibility. They want to live life and kind of shrink and play small. And they're afraid to upgrade and step up in their lives. And there is more challenges and problems, I guess, that you can face in life as you take on more responsibility. But there's also more joy and meaning to your life, and there's more available. There's more available to life by doing so. So, for me, I guess that's probably the biggest thing of what I'd miss is just less responsibility in my life. But I think in every time of life, we can always look at things in the past, and we often kind of have a fondness of it, but we often only see like the positive, and we forget the negative aspect of that too. So, I think even when you're in a relationship, sometimes you're like, yeah, you miss the days of being single. Then when you're single, then you wish you had a relationship. So there's always both sides of it. Sometimes you kind of want what you don't have, but I think, just sorry, I'm just reading a comment, but just accepting it, growing up and being a more responsible person is better. All right, let's see. Fernando says, hey, Stefan, I've been living outside my country, Venezuela, for over 3 years, but I can't get used to living in Chile. What do you recommend? Maybe live somewhere else. Is there someone else in the world? And by the way, I've never been to Venezuela. I'd love to go there because I heard it's really beautiful, but I've been to Santiago, Chile. It's a great city. It is a really great city. I enjoyed it a lot. But yeah, maybe it's just not the place for you to live. And the great thing is, this world that we live in, you're not limited just to living in one place anymore. There's many digital nomads like myself that take their laptop and live any part of the world they want to live in. For me, this year I was living in Panama, I was living in Los Angeles, now I'm in Vancouver. A few months from now I'm going to be in Hawaii, and I'll be in that part of the world. So if you don't want to live where you live, then change it. Do something about it. Find somewhere else to live. Find another country to move to. Build an online business. You find a job, a freelance job where you can work from your computer and create that freedom and pursue the life that you want to live. Okay, Mike says, how do we minimize our regrets? I think you minimize regrets by thinking long-term, not just making decisions for the moment, but taking into consideration your future self. So for you, Mike, when you make a decision in your life, ask yourself, how will this affect future Mike 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and take into consideration that guy, right? Because that guy 5, 10 years from now, you're going to show up and that's going to be your life. And you don't want to look back at old Mike and past Mike and say, fuck, what were you thinking? What were you thinking? Why did you waste all your time playing video games? Why did you spend all those nights just watching pornography? Why did you spend all that time eating junk food? And because now 5-year-old, Mike 5, 10 years from now is going to look back at that guy and like, you screwed me, and have that sense of regret. So I would say just think long-term, okay? Don't just make a decision for your short-term instant gratification, short-term impulses. Unfortunately, a lot of people do that. They make their decisions without considering their future. So they spend money that they don't have. They eat crap food to get pleasure from that in the moment at the cost to their future. And same thing with spending money they don't have at the cost of their future retirement, their family's future, their future freedom and financial stability. There's a whole host of other things, but they're not considering their future. So if you want to minimize regrets, make decisions based on your future. And not to say you can't balance yourself and have some pleasures and make some impulsive fun things too, but that's to reward yourself, but make sure you think about your future as well. Let's see here. Let's dive into another question. Okay, Michael says, Michael G, what was your biggest fear before you decided to become an entrepreneur and put yourself out there, and how did you overcome that fear? My biggest fear when I became an entrepreneur was not having the support from my family, because the first business I ever started, I was 21 years old, and I wanted to be a social and dating coach, right, a life coach. And I got into self-development when I was 17, 18 years old, and I made a lot of changes in my social skills, my dating life, and I was able to transform a lot of myself and become a lot more confident, and it just more social. I became like a different person. But the challenge that I faced was that around my family, they perceived me as the old Stefan, and they didn't see who I had become. And I would always kind of revert back to the old Stefan when I'd be around my family. And so I kind of felt like kind of limited when I was around them versus when I was around my friends and my new friends, and I was this confident, charismatic, social person. And so I decided to start my first business at 21 years old, and I was afraid that they were going to judge me and criticize me for that and say, that's stupid, that's irresponsible, you'll never make it, and not believe in me. And so I personally decided not to share it with them. And I didn't have really a great relationship with my family at that time. I was more just kind of doing my own thing, and moved out of my house and had roommates, and didn't have a great relationship with my family as much. But I just decided, you know what? I'm going to let the results speak for itself. I'm going to put my head down. I'm going to grind. I'm going to build a business, and I'm going to become successful and build a business so that when I do share it with them, they're going to be proud of me, and the results will speak for itself. So that's what I did. And then I also remember at some point being a YouTuber, when I started that when I was around 25 years old, I was also afraid that people might criticize me or judge me. So I remember I was hesitant to even share on my Facebook, my personal Facebook feed where I have my friends and family, to share my latest videos and stuff because, they're probably going to judge me for that. And so I just kind of decided, you know what, I'm going to let the results speak for itself. And I remember one time I had this one person in my life, he said, this is kind of a few years later, like when I first started my YouTube, and then maybe 3 years later, and I was building something really cool and it was doing well. And he said, I remember when you first started, I kind of looked at what you were doing and kind of thought it was stupid, and he kind of judged me for it. But he's like, now today I can see it and like, oh wow, like I'm really impressed by it. And that's kind of an unfortunate thing sometimes, because usually like people aren't around when you're struggling. They don't believe in you and support you as much, or want to take you for dinner or spend time with you when you're nobody. But when you do become somebody, all of a sudden all these people show up. Your family, your friends, these distant cousins, they want to take you for coffee. They want you to help them build an online business now. Girls that you dated in the past, or you got their phone number, that you once tried to go on a date with, and all of a sudden years later now they're like, oh yeah, let's how's it going, and they try to hang out with you again, right? So you kind of see that. And where were these people when I was struggling, when I was first starting my channel and first trying to make it and whatnot? And then sure enough, these people show up. And I don't judge people for that, because I get it. When someone is doing maybe inspirational things, we all kind of gravitate towards that a lot more. That's more attractive to everybody. We want to be around that. And even for myself, I can relate to wanting to be around other people as well that are more successful and everything too. So I don't judge them for it, but I just kind of see it for what it is, that, you just got to, just not worry what people think. And I think that was the big thing that I had, but it also motivated me too. So the fear that I had motivated me to try to prove myself and to show other people and demonstrate, what, this is, I can be successful at this, and look what I accomplished. All right, let's dive into some more questions, guys. Victoria says, how do you bring all your biohacking hacks with you on the road? Unfortunately, I can't bring everything. I can't bring the things that are big. So my rebounder, I can't. My PEMF mat, I can't. I had to sell my treadmill desk when I moved from Vancouver, but I'll buy another one in the future. And a few other things too. Some things I can bring. So my V-Light, I'll show you guys. I'll show you guys two things, maybe three things. Give me one sec, guys. I'll share with you guys three things I travel with. If you guys are curious. This is where you guys think I'm really crazy. Okay, I'm back. All right, so Here's some of the things I do travel with. This is called the human charger. This emits blue light, and one of the most important things you can do, guys, when you wake up in the morning is to get sunlight. Sunlight is really important for your circadian rhythms, which is like your body's clock. And so getting sunlight is really, really important. And unfortunately, we're deficient from that because we're mostly indoors and we're using artificial lights. So one of the best things you can do first thing in the morning, get sunlight, go outside, even if you can look at the sun and obviously not blind yourself, but that's really important for your energy, for your circadian rhythm. This device though is a bit of a hack. So this uses blue light. So this stimulates the brain with blue light and helps reset your circadian rhythm. And I use this a lot for jet lag too, because when your body clock is changing a lot, you need to adapt. This is light, pretty simple, and you guys can do a Google search for it if you like. All right, that's number one. Number two, and also I use blue blocking glasses too before bed to help remove the blue light, which helps prevent your brain from releasing melatonin when you're looking at screens and different things like that. So that's something I use. This is known as the V-light neurogamma. So this uses red light therapy, and what it does is it stimulates the brain. And this is actually a lot, so it increases blood flow to the brain, but this is used a lot with people that have dementia or Alzheimer's. Works wonders. You can do a lot of the science and the research behind it, but you put this on. I'm not going to put it on, but there's also, it does look stupid. So this is a nasal light. So this light here, it stimulates the front part of your brain as well. You can't see it, but this is another device that I use, travel with it, helps with energy, concentration, focus, memory retention. All cognitive functions will improve as a result. This one was a gift from Tatiana, because Tatiana is also into all the same stuff that I am. We do this stuff together. This is known as the Katsu. The Katsu, it's, I'll kind of show it to you guys here. So this is a little device that restricts the blood flow. It's not blood flow restriction exactly, because blood flow restriction just restricts it. Sorry, let me just put this on. But what it does is it's used for building muscle mass. It's used for recovery. It's beneficial for your immune system. There's a lot of great benefits to it. You could research it if you like. It's created by this guy in Japan, and there's kind of like whole movements and workout programs, all of that do this. But you put this around your arms. They have also for your legs as well. And I'm not an expert on this, so I don't know enough yet to fully explain it to you guys, but once I do, I'll share more with you guys, maybe do a video on it. Okay. So what this is gonna do, this is a little motor here. It's gonna pump oxygen, air through this. It's gonna get really, really tight, restrict the blood flow. All the blood are gonna see my arms are gonna get super red, so all the blood's gonna flow right to my arms, and this is gonna stimulate muscle growth. You can do different exercises with it, but usually the exercises are very subtle ones, so even just like doing this will feel really intense in a bit, but it's gonna tighten it, and then it's gonna release, tighten, release, tighten, release, and I guess there's been a lot of study done that shows a lot of great benefits. But I've been using this. I got this when we were in Panama for my birthday, and that was in May. So I've been using this since then a few times a week, and it definitely has benefited, and it's also benefited a lot with recovery too. So I'm gonna leave this on for a minute. Okay, let's move on to another question. How do you gain muscle healthily? Well, how do you gain muscle? I mean, you gotta lift heavy, of course. Doing weight, resistant training, lift weights. I usually lift weights about 3 to 5 times a week. I wasn't as much in Panama, I was more kind of playing basketball and whatnot, but lifting heavy, the rep range, I'd say probably like 8 to 12 reps. And getting enough nutrition to support muscle growth. And so you need a surplus of calories. If you consume too many calories, obviously you're gonna just convert that into fat. And so having certain macros, but protein obviously to support your muscles recovering, getting the right amino acids as well as, carbohydrates and fats as well. But it's just following the right macros, lifting heavy, lifting heavy. And I've always had a hard time gaining muscle, especially when I was young, because I'm an ectomorph. My metabolism has definitely changed over the years, but yeah, I mean, I've had to, eat a lot when I was younger, and there's times where I bulk up a little bit more and more loose with my diet, but I can gain more muscle during that period, and then I'm pretty good at losing fat. I can burn fat if I just do weightlifting and then do cardio in the morning on an empty stomach. For me, that's a way that I've always done well with that. So. But there's fitness people that you can find. And of course, sleep is very important for your hormones and recovery and all that. Okay, let's move on to another question. What's your thoughts on print on demand? I've been using it for a couple of months now and yet to make a single sale. Any ideas in relation to generating sales also, please? Well, I guess it depends what your print on demand is. I do print on demand, and I teach. I teach it for books. So Amazon with KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, they have print on demand books for paperback books. So in that case, that's print on demand. And then also I do print on demand T-shirts using Printful with some apparel, products that I have as well. I mean, really, the way you make money with it is you got to market it. You got to get traffic. You've got to promote it. You've got to have a good strategy to market. You've got a product, and whether or not someone's going to buy that is going to be based on the design of it or the product, the quality of it, of course. But you got to get people to your sales page, to your offer page, and attract the right people to it. So you've got to learn internet marketing. You might have to build a brand like what I've done. Maybe it's a YouTube channel, maybe it's a podcast, maybe it's a blog, maybe it's Facebook groups, maybe it's Facebook page, maybe it's Instagram, maybe it's whatever. You've got to learn internet marketing and learn getting traffic. And maybe it's paying for advertising on Facebook or Google. But you have to analyze and break down what you're doing, look at your product, look at your sales page, and then analyze the data of the traffic that you're generating to it. And if you're not getting any traffic, that's what you got to focus on. If you're getting 1,000 people a month, look at how many sales that you're getting. If it's not selling, then you got to improve the product. You got to improve the offer. You got to improve the sales page. So marketing requires you to break down every element of your business so that you can optimize that and improve it. So as you guys can see, my arms are getting really red. I get crazy vascularity usually, but it gets a little bit intense. But just doing this is a workout, man. This is a workout. It's pretty nuts. So that's called the Kaatsu, Kaatsu. All right, let's see here. Hi, Stefan. Why do we need most of the time approval on our decision through someone else? Well, I think you're referring to you, so be careful saying we when you're really referring to you, because I don't require people's approval to do things, and not everyone else does. So be careful not to generalize that. So why do you need approval from people? It's a good question. Why do you need that? Why do you need other people's approval to make a decision? Why can't you just make your own decisions? Why can't you just do what you want to do and what you decide to do for yourself? And by the way, this goes through a 5-minute cycle, so I just did one. I'll take it off. Usually you do 15 minutes on the arms, 20 minutes on the leg. So I would look into that and just practice making your own decisions. I mean, it's your life. I can understand maybe when you're a little bit younger and perhaps your parents could have been a little bit controlling, and that could be something that contributes to that. Like if you had very controlling parents and they're very controlling of all the decisions that you do and what you made, then maybe that's still influencing you, and you have to become your own man, I guess, and make your own decisions in spite of what anyone else thinks. But I think the deep reason is that we want the approval, the love of other people. And the sources of love for you in your life, let's say your parents or your friends, you're afraid of losing their love and that they'll disapprove of you. And what that will mean is that you no longer have them as a source of love. And I think really what you got to work on is you have to learn how to be independent of needing approval and love from everyone else. And there's nothing wrong with having love, a loving relationship, but when you are dependent on that, That's not healthy. So you got to meet your own needs. You have to become an independent person. You have to make your own decisions. You have to maybe have your own self-care rituals to fill yourself up. And when you're full in yourself and your life, you don't need that from other people. I think a lot of people, here's kind of an analogy that I use. If you got a cup, a lot of people, they have like a half-empty cup, and they're looking for everyone else to fill them up. So they're trying to make everyone else happy and please people and everyone else like them, so they fill themselves up. And when they feel full, they feel good about themselves. But that's a flaw. That's something that is, you're always now dependent on other people. And whether other people like you or not, or agree with you or not, or criticize you or not, that's going to affect you. So you got to work on filling yourself up, and you no longer need someone else to fill you up. You're no longer needy for that. And when you're full, now you have something to give. You're overflowing with abundance. You can give to other people, and whether or not other people agree, you're still complete. You're still full the way you are. So learning how to be a complete, full person. And the way that I've always focused on this with myself is I've always looked at it as, if you're going to have a great relationship with someone, like if you really love someone, what do you do for them? Anything, right? If you really love someone, you probably spend time with them. You probably compliment them and tell them, I love you, you're great, you're awesome. You give them praise. Maybe you spend quality time with them. Maybe you buy them gifts and do nice things for them. But here's the thing, how often do you do that for yourself? The most important relationship is a relationship with you. So how often do you look yourself in the mirror and give yourself praise? You don't need it from anyone else. You can give yourself praise and approval and say, great job. Great, I'm proud of you. Great job for this. Or you know what? You look great today, right? You got to build that with yourself as you would with someone else, a stranger. You got to do that for you. You got to spend quality time with yourself. And for me, that's the time that I spend with myself in the morning. My morning ritual is a time that I give to myself to tell everyone else, I'm the most important right now. I got to take care of me before I can work on my business, before I can serve you guys, before I can serve my relationship. All of that, I got to spend time with me and connect with myself. Maybe it's taking myself out for dinner, taking myself out, for a date, right? Do those things you would do for someone else for you. And when you do that, you have such an incredible relationship with yourself that your relationships with everyone else will get better as a result of that. So I'm not sure if any of that resonated with you, but those are a few things that I would consider. What indicators do you use to know when to go big on an investment? That's a challenging one, because I don't think I've really ever gone really big on an investment, I'd say, in terms of like a stock investment or something like that. I've always typically been a little bit more conservative as an investor. So for example, I built my investment portfolio kind of, if I have a certain amount of money, I'm kind of buying over a period of time and spreading out my risk, I think, that way a little bit. And so for example, if I'm, when I bought Amazon or Tesla or whatever these companies, I'll put in a certain amount of money, and which is still a relatively low amount in proportion to like the big pie of cash that I maybe have sitting there. But I'll kind of get into a certain position of that, and then I'll wait a little bit. If it dips down or drops, I'll buy more, or even if it goes up a bit, but I'm kind of spacing it out over time. And I've always been a bit more conservative in that way. And I think that could be, I think in some ways it is something I need to improve, because I want to improve my ability to evaluate businesses more. And I think especially when I was new as an investor, I was more conservative even than I am now, but because I didn't know as much, and I was just kind of slowly buying over time. But as I gain more experience, and I think as you gain more knowledge and wisdom and improve your ability, then I think I probably will make bigger investments the more that I know what I'm doing with it. But I've always been more conservative, so I'm not sure if I'm the best person to answer that. And that's something that I need to work on. And I think the way is you got to gain confidence and experience. The confidence and the experience is what allows you to make bigger investments, to understand the risk and the downside. I think you shouldn't go big and make a big investment if you don't know really what you're doing and you don't have much experience doing that. So you might see like a Warren Buffett or these entrepreneurs, they're able to make big decisions, big investments, but usually they've got a lot of experience, and they're not they're not putting all their eggs in one basket either. They're still mitigating their risk and diversifying and doing all the smart things too. So I think for me, my number one goal, especially when I've made money, number one is to not lose it, to protect it. And even though I might miss out on some incredible opportunities and gains and returns, I'm happy just slowly building my wealth over time, long-term approach and mentality. I'm not looking for the big wins or anything like that. Slow and steady. And even that same mentality in my business, slow and steady, slow and steady. And as I gain more experience and knowledge and wisdom and confidence, then I can make bigger decisions over time. All right. All right, so Byron, I touched my nose because I have a bit of an itchiness here. I actually have something called seborrheic dermatitis, which is this molasses on my skin that inflames at different times and causes itchiness. So I usually get it here in my beard area, right here and here. So I'm not sure if you can see that or not. I use this product to help control it, but it causes itchiness, and that's why. So it's just an example of people that interpret things and make assumptions without actually, seeking first to understand and actually looking at things in a different perspective. Let's see. Oliver says, I don't have many friends and I want to become more popular and outgoing. How can I achieve this? Well, Oliver, I've been in that exact same situation when I was a lot younger. It's putting yourself out there, man. I remember I used to be addicted to video games, spend a lot of time, inside and just kind of isolating myself. And I had a lot of anxiety being around people. And I think what helped me was joining groups around similar interests. So even actually with video games, I did have some friends and people that I met that shared a similar interest of that. But my group of friends that I formed when I was 18 years old were different than my group of friends of video games. And I actually met them through this community in Vancouver of other guys that were interested in improving their social skills and their confidence. Today, there's like, for example, the dating or the pickup community, I guess, of guys that are interested in meeting women and all of that. And you got to be a little bit wary of that because there is some weird, unethical things. I guess some guys can get a little bit too far into there. But find groups, find communities like that. And I also, when I was 18, I wanted to develop my speaking skills, which might interest you. And I also had a lot of fear, right? So I joined Toastmasters, which is groups where groups of people that get together every week and they practice their public speaking skills. And so I'd put myself in scenarios like that. And I think you just have to put yourself out there. And when you feel uncomfortable, when you feel anxiety, that's a good thing because that means you're growing. The more that you put yourself in uncomfortable situations, eventually you become comfortable with discomfort. So put yourself in uncomfortable situations, put yourself in different environments, and you'll get stronger. You'll learn how to adapt and deal with those a lot better, and you'll meet great people. And I found that by being a part of groups where other people are also trying to improve themselves, like their public speaking, their dating life, their social skills, there's no ego, like everyone's humble, everyone's there to improve themselves, everyone's supporting one another. They're on the same path as you are. So those are things that I'd encourage you to try to branch out into and find some groups in person where you can be around other people like that, and you'll make friends. All right, guys, we'll do a few more questions here. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. Sorry, just trying to scroll through. Eamon says, how do you keep moving towards your goals when you're lonely and everyone makes you feel unworthy and antisocial? Entrepreneurship and success, they say, is a bit of a lonely road. So it is a lonely road, and your friends and people in your life will change because you're changing. You're becoming a different person. You're becoming more positive and trying to improve yourself in your life and become successful in your life. And maybe your friends and family, they don't want to. Maybe they're comfortable with the status quo and they might look at you and criticize you for that. So that's why I think it's important you have to surround yourself and proactively find other people that have similar visions and interests that you do. So finding other people that are like that and surround yourself with them. So it can be lonely, but you just have to find other groups. And today it's easier than it's ever been, guys. It was so much harder when I started this stuff. Because back then, meeting someone on the internet was like this crazy thing that you're going to get raped or killed or something like that. Today, there's so many groups. There's Facebook groups. There's message boards. There's mastermind events. There's businesses. Even like my business, I put on mastermind events twice a year usually, which have been postponed lately because of COVID. But there's many different communities, seminars you can go to. So you just got to proactively find those people that are going to be a part of that tribe and community and surround yourself with them. Kiki says, I love the video you posted about to stop orgasm. I did for 1 month, feel more energetic, and I start to lose interest on relationships. Is it normal? So one thing that can be common when you do that is something called the flat line. So if you look at relating to this, like the flat line is where as your brain is kind of detoxing from this overstimulation of dopamine levels, your brain kind of has this flat line where you kind of lose interest in sex, in you can kind of even go through a point of like depression and lowness from it, but it's actually your brain kind of resetting itself. So for everyone, it's different. Sometimes the flat line can last for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, sometimes a week. Sometimes it can show up on week 2 or month 2 or 3. Like it's kind of different for everybody, but I'd look into the flat line. And specifically for men, there's like this no-fap movement of men that like, decide not to like have orgasms or to masturbate or watch porn especially. But if you type in like no fap flatline, then I think you can find some information on that. Okay, Matthew says, I'm currently active duty in the military other than weekends. I'm pretty busy. And by the way, thanks for your service. I'm invested in the stock market. What other ideas for passive income? Well, a lot of business passive income. If you want to build a business, it's going to take a lot of time. And so you said you're pretty busy. I mean, not unless you're willing to sacrifice and give some time on the weekends to build up some passive income streams and build an online business. I share many different resources for that. Stock market is great. Real estate is great. I mean, there's other kind of investment vehicles, but those are the ones that I'm most familiar with. I like, investing in a lot of dividend-paying stocks. But I mean, the other ones, it's just really mainly going to be business. If you're interested in building a business, or you can do invest in bonds. You can invest in P2P loans where you loan people money to give you interest from that. So there's other investment vehicles like that too. But the challenge, I think, is not unless you have a lot of money coming in to invest in stocks or these things. It's going to take a long time for that to really add up before it's making really enough passive income for you to retire or to live off that. It's going to be very, very long term. And so the more money that you have to invest in your investments in the stock market, the easier and the faster it'll be. And so for me, I've used business as a way to generate a lot of cash flow and then take that money and then invest it in these vehicles. And that's what's allowed me to grow my portfolio really fast and build up my passive income from dividends and whatnot. So that's what I personally done with it. And I think also, if you're investing in the stock market, why do you really need other passive income vehicles? The stock market can give you really as much diversity as you want. You can invest in corporations, real estate, you can invest in commodities, you can invest in metals, you can invest in so many different things. You can kind of get your feet in a lot of different sectors through the stock market. And real estate, I think, is great too. Doesn't require learning as much as stocks. But beyond that, I think you kind of dilute your focus a little bit too much. I would continue to focus like on one thing, let's say the stock market, really gain more knowledge, more skill in that area, rather than try to do stocks and real estate and all these different things, because you're gonna kind of be kind of dabble around with that. You're not gonna really master something. The kind of saying goes, jack of all trades, master of none. So I think sometimes it's better just to, if you decide the stock market's really what you want to master and use to create passive income, then focus more on that. or maybe look at other ways you can generate more income that you can invest more into that vehicle. And that's what I've done. I focus mainly on stocks and business, and then I'll eventually get into real estate, but I just really want to learn as much as I can about those two things to get to a certain point first. Okay, guys, we'll do 2 more questions. What do you take, from MZ, what do you take for energy besides caffeine? I prefer not to consume caffeine. Nothing. You don't need anything for energy. Energy can be created with your mindset and taking care of your health, eating healthy foods, exercise, calming your mind through meditation and whatnot. So I'm more of a natural person as much as I can. I don't like to use stimulants and a lot of things for that. Sometimes I can use caffeine and things like that if I really need it, let's say, and I didn't get enough sleep or I have something big that I need the energy for, and I can kind of use it for that reason. But I try to eat healthy, so trying to eat a lot of plant-based foods, fruits, vegetables, sprouts. They have a lot of water in it, enzymes, they're living, they have all the nutrition that I need. Doesn't require so much to digest. I try to limit my animal products that I consume. I try to get enough sleep, 8 hours, get my deep sleep, my REM sleep, and do exercising and optimize, my mindset, my calming my mind. Sometimes an overactive mind, stress, anxiety, those things can kind of take your energy from you, I feel. So really doing as much as I can, with my body and taking care of it. And I think if you do that, you shouldn't really need caffeine to get energy, right? You can just focus on your natural abilities. And we'll do one more question here, guys. Let's see. All right, well, we'll wrap it up with this one here. Kane says, how did you get started with stocks and funding your portfolio? Okay, well, I first started with investing when I was 18 years old. I have an older brother, and he was starting investing before me, but he shared with me a book called The Wealthy Barber by David Chilton. And it was basically a book that promotes mutual funds, but it taught me about compounding, and it taught me about paying myself first and dollar cost averaging and a variety of simple concepts like that. And at the time, I didn't make much money, but I was able to invest, I think like $500 is what I was able to save up and invest in a mutual fund. And then I just try to set it up so that every month, automatically from my bank account, I think at the time it was about $25 a month. So 25 bucks a month would go to building that. And so that's my first introduction, was with mutual funds. And I read a variety of books on finances, and I started to focus on that area of my life a lot more. I didn't get into stock investing, I think, until I was about 24 years old. I had a friend that was investing in stocks. And so, he kind of sat me down and shared with me a few things, but honestly, he didn't really know what he was doing. And I eventually started with paper trading. Paper trading is when you're just investing with imaginary money. And so I just tried to play with that a little bit. And then I had some more money to invest, and I bought Apple and I bought Facebook. Facebook right when they did their IPO. I forget when that was, but it was around, I think, when I was 25 years old, I think. Or maybe even 26, but that's what I started with, and I just kind of left it. And things that I learned, I'm going to buy, I'm just going to hold it long term. I've got time on my side, and that's kind of how I first started. But I didn't really do much after that. I just kind of left my investments, and I did make money. Apple, Facebook went up, and did pretty well with that. And then I started reading more books. It really came though when I started making a lot of money in my business, to be honest, and I was just sitting on a lot of cash, and you kind of deal with the problem, what do I do with all this money? I got to do something with it. And you feel like you're missing out if it's just sitting in your bank account, not making you any money. So then I started learning about, I read Tony Robbins' book called Money Master the Game. Great book. He's got another one called Unshakable, which is kind of like a follow-up or a summary of that book. And it just got me more focused, but that transitioned me into ETFs, exchange traded funds. And then I started learning about Vanguard and Jack Bogle, the founder of Vanguard, and just kind of learning about that philosophy. And how even Warren Buffett would recommend for the average person just to own an index, own an ETF of the S&P 500. So I did that. And then And then I started learning more. I started reading more books. I started experimenting more. I started signing up for different newsletters. So there's different newsletters you pay every month for, and certain companies, they do the research and they share with the people on the newsletter what they're buying and holding, and their analysis, I guess, of different companies. So I started kind of listening to what they said and just buying what they said and building it up and just learning as I went. And it's a long journey. It really is. And there's still so much that I'm learning, still so much that I don't know about investing. There's different levels to it. And just every day I keep learning. Every day I check my investments. Every day I check Yahoo Finance. I'm seeing what's going on in the markets. I'm reading articles on it. I'm going to investopia.com and learning and reading up things I don't know or I don't understand. I've started investing in different courses and just learning. And I've done well, but it's really honestly at a time now where everyone's doing well, because for the most part the market's up. Most of my companies are doing really well right now, except for I never really owned any in the tourism space though, so I haven't suffered there. But it's been more banks have been hit for me, as well as energy stocks, some oil stocks. Those are the main two sectors that have been hit for me. But otherwise, my portfolio's done really well. But usually when there's a bull market, everybody thinks they're a genius because everyone's making money, but it's just the market's just gone up so much. So, it's just continuing to learn as much as I can, and that's how I started though. It just started many years ago, probably about nine years ago is when I started really learning about stock investing and studying it a lot more. All right, guys, thank you so much. We're going to end it there. I know there's more questions, there always is, but hopefully you guys enjoyed our time together and got a lot of benefit from this. I got some more great videos coming for you guys next week that I think you guys will enjoy. One of them is 7 things that I wish I stopped sooner. Another one is 10 lessons that I learned from building a YouTube channel with over 1 million subscribers. So if you're interested in that, being a YouTuber, or even just what I've learned along the way, I think it could help a lot of you guys. I released a video earlier this week too on how to open a stock brokerage account. And a lot of people were asking me about that and just what to look for in opening a stock brokerage account. I do want to mention though that I learned that the one company, the brokerage account that's offering 2 free stocks when you open an account with them, that's a promotion that's actually ending on September 1st. So after that, you'll only be able to get 1 free stock, and you have to deposit $100 to get that. So that's just one thing I want to give you guys a heads up for. That is time sensitive if you want to take advantage of that promotion they have. I know a lot of people have and have benefited from it, so might as well get 2 free stocks. And you can start with paper trading, of course, as well. But hopefully that video helps you guys, but just want to remind you guys of that. Otherwise, guys, thank you so much for your time. Make sure that you hit subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell icon for notifications. Always a pleasure to serve you guys and share with you guys. Thank you guys so much. Be well. Have a great weekend. God bless. Talk to you soon.